Welcome back to the White Gray Black Weekly Manga Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about all of your favorite ongoing Japanese manga. My name is Bruce. I am the proprietor of the White Gray Black YouTube channel. With me again this week is Gautam.
Hello.
This week we are continuing our little 3x3 journey, but this time, even though we're a manga podcast, we're going to talk about some anime. So we're going to talk about our 3x3 anime pictures, anime panels, anime choices, whatever you're going to see there. And this time, there's only about half a show overlap. So stick around for the discussion. We'll be right back. I went first last time, Gautam, so
Am I up?
So you're up first this time. So here is Gautam's anime 3x3.
All right. Just like last time, the columns and the rows both have themes.
Okay. I'll try to guess, but
yeah, and you got to guess. And but let me state them in order going down the rows first. Or wait.
Left to right, top to bottom?
Left to right, then top to bottom. Yeah, exactly. So the first one is Gintama. The second one, One Punch Man. Third one, Nishijo. Fourth, Shinsekai Yori.
Or the English title is what, From the New World?
Title? Yeah, From the New World.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one is interesting because everyone just uses the Japanese title when referring to it. But yeah, From a New World. Fifth is Bakano. The sixth one is Cromartie High School.
Oh, okay. I was like, I don't know what that one on the road was, but
the seventh is Tengentoppa Gurren Lagann. Eighth is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And third is The Daily Life of High School Boys, or Danshi Kokosei no Nishijo.
There you go. He even has the full Japanese in there. Okay,
it's weird because like in the zeitgeist, it's still called Danshi Kokosei no Nishijo. Like I want to use the English names, but I'm just using what's commonly used by the masses.
I mean, I have most often seen that referred to as Nichi Bros.
It is Nichi Bros.
Is the shorthand, right? It's just the daily lives of high school boys, as opposed to Nichijo up top, which is that actually called the daily life of high school girls? I don't know.
I think it's just called the daily life.
Yeah, I think Nichijo is just daily life, but yeah. Okay, well, I mean, we can start down there with Nichi Bros. I watched a little bit of this. It's good. It's a funny show. Tell me why it's on your 3x3.
Wait, no, you have to guess the themes.
Oh, you want me to go right now? Okay, far right is definitely a daily life column.
Wait, which? Gurren
No, far right. So Nichijo, Cromartie, and Nichi Bros. That's your like daily life, slice of life column, I assume, right? I have not seen Cromartie High, but
yeah, completely. That's my daily life of high schoolers column.
Everything else is kind of tough because rows and columns, right?
Yeah. I'll give you my leftmost column because that's impossible to guess.
Is that the impossible one? Okay.
Yeah. It's just shit I really like.
I was about to say, is left just your favorites? Because I definitely also maybe have a column that's just my favorites. But yeah.
Yeah, left is just my favorites.
Yeah.
Which is Gintama, Shinsekai Yori, and Gurren Lagann. The high school one is Nishijo, Cromartie High School, and Nishi Bros.
I'm going to say the top row has something to do with animation. Because One Punch Man and Nichijo both are two of like the top 5 best animated animes of all time. At least season 1 of One Punch Man. And Gintama, I know maybe has some of that. That would be my guess. But
it is daily life on crack.
Ah, okay.
Because
other angles of daily life, I guess.
Yeah.
The daily life of a superhero and the daily life of a troll samurai ronin or something.
He does odd jobs, so it is very much just daily life shit. But it is absolutely crack fueled for all of these.
Yeah. Okay, so I got to figure out the two centers, right, and the bottom. Yeah, the bottom 2 rows and the middle column. Bottom row was like, I don't know, like late 2000s anime.
No, you want me to give it to you?
Yeah, give me that one. We won't spend too much time guessing here. But...
The show's about brotherhood.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, and Nichi Bros. Yeah, okay. The middle stuff I want to just say is another like favorites row or best row, maybe.
It pretty much is.
Yeah.
It is all the only theme that these three shows share is that it's about humans grasping for power and fucking up.
Okay.
And you may say Cromartie High School is about that, and I would say, have you even watched Cromartie High School, bro?
I have not, so I cannot comment on it.
And nobody has, so they can't prove me wrong. You know,
I've seen every show on this. I have not seen Gintama. I have not seen Cromartie, and I've seen clips, but I have not seen any of Nichi Bros. But everything else on here I've seen.
Nice.
Middle column is the last one to guess,
which is One Punch, Baccano, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Maybe this one is on animation. I don't know.
Shows about immortals.
Okay. That's stretching a little bit with One Punch Man, but I'll take it.
It is so not. Saitama is immortal in every sense of the word.
Not canonically immortal.
He farted his way back from Jupiter. He can live in space and do whatever he wants.
I would argue Saitama is invincible, but not strictly immortal. Although, I don't know. We have not seen if he has aged since he has reached his power. I assume that he is still aging, but...
what about that one chapter where you got hit by the super aging beam and nothing happened?
I do not remember that.
I
do believe it. Okay, I was like, I don't remember that ever happening in One Punch Man, but okay, cool. Start wherever you feel like starting and tell me.
Sure. Yeah. Let's start with Gintama because it's at the top of every My Anime list. There's eight copies of Gintama up there, and in my opinion, there should be more. I know there's just not enough Gintama to fill in the other two spaces. All 10 should be Gintama. It's a 10 out of 10. It's fucking great. Gintama is the funniest show I think maybe ever. I'm trying to think of a funnier show. Maybe it's
like maybe
always
I would
Sunny.
consider Nichijou the funniest show as far as anime, but I know that Gintama also is very funny. So.
Gintama is maybe even funnier than the medium it's in. I would put it up there with like Community and Always Sunny and those kinds of shows with how funny I think Gintama is. It has a weak first two episodes because episode 1 and 2 are like this anime only promo thing for
really?
when the show started. So a lot of people tend to bounce off of it after watching those two. And even without those two, it has a bit of an entry barrier where I think you have to get to episode 12 to start loving it.
It probably I'm gonna guess it probably starts a little more typical shonen-y, doesn't it? Rather than being immediately wacky and funny.
I think it just has to introduce its cast,
Mm-hmm.
and once but you start out by these are just a bunch of wacky dudes and gals, and you don't get to like them or understand their place in the comedy until like a certain point, which is like episode 12. I think it really hits its stride in funniness. It's like Parks and Rec has a bad first season, but it's a phenomenal show overall. It's very much that kind of a beat.
Well, now, I can see that. Cool. I mean, Gintama, it's like you said, it's the top of every list. I think everyone who has managed to get into it knows that it's funny, like hilarious. I mean, all the clips I've seen, even out of context, are pretty hilarious. So
it is. The author just has boundless creativity, and I think Witch Watch is like kind of holding the torch that Gintama left, but I don't think there's anything that'll be as funny.
I was going to mention that the author of Witch Watch was a assistant on Gintama for a certain amount of time. I don't know how long, but I know that they probably got a lot of their sort of sense of humor and style from Gintama. And I see...
Oh, for sure.
And you can confirm this more than I can, but from what I've seen from both Witch Watch and Gintama, they definitely seem very similar stylistically, I guess.
Yeah, they share a lot of similarities, especially I think in how creative they get with their jokes and just general setups for jokes. Both authors have boundless creativity, and give it a chance and you'll love Gintama. If you're looking for something fun and funny and heartfelt when it wants to be, it hits every category and hits it perfectly.
Nice.
All right, next one up, One Punch Man.
What more needs to be said?
What is there to say?
Other than season 1 only. It's all I have to caveat.
Season 1, Season 1, then
2,
read it.
yeah. I think I agree with you. There's a couple on here that I almost put on my list that are not on my list. One Punch Man and Shinsekai Yori are both, and Nichijou are three series that I thought, okay, does this go on my list? Where does it fit? Can I fit it in the theme? That did not make it, but I think One Punch Man season 1 is among the greatest animated pieces of anime ever made. Like I think the only things that can rival it, well, one of them I think I'll talk about in mine, and stuff like Ping Pong the animation, which is more stylized rather than just this is animated amazingly. But yeah, I mean, One Punch Man season 1 was just literally they got all of the best animators freelance to do that through, was it Bones or Madhouse? I always get those two mixed up.
It was Madhouse.
Madhouse. Yeah. They organized it and they literally just like, and it was one of those things where all of the animators were such big fans of Murata's version of it or one's version of it or both, that they were just like, absolutely, let me work on this. You know, I have to do good for Murata Sensei. And yeah, they do. Season 1 of One Punch Man is awesome. It hit it exactly the right time where superhero stuff was on the rise, and it's very satirical about superhero stuff. Animation is amazing. Voice acting is perfect. I think the practice fight, quote unquote, between Saitama and Genos, I think is the greatest fight in anime of all time.
And I think like the beauty of the show is that I can actually have a different favorite fight from that series. Like for me, it's Saitama versus Boros. That's like peak anime fights. But the Genos fight is fucking amazing, right? Like it's like that is just an eyegasm of a show. To be honest.
And it's awesome. It's also funny. It's great. Yeah, I mean, One Punch Man. I think if you're into anime and you have not watched One Punch Man, you're not. It's required entry viewing at this point, I would say. Put that at the top of your list. It's easy to watch too. It's the
easiest fucking watch.
It's so fun.
It appeals to everyone. Yeah,
it has very massive broad appeal. I do think there are layers of jokes in One Punch Man if you're into either sort of shonen action tropes or superhero tropes. If you're into both of those things, I think there's an extra layer of One Punch Man that helps you enjoy it even more. But you can just watch it and enjoy it as sort of a fun, funny superhero show. And I think it works great.
Absolutely. And I think there's a lot of really good bald representation for our hairless brethren out there.
That's true.
Third one is Nishijou. God, what a fucking show nobody watches or has watched. I know we have people who have watched Nishijou, but it undersold in Japan criminally. Nobody bought it. When I went to Japan, I was talking to this Japanese dude, and we were just talking about our favorite anime. He hadn't even heard of Nishijou.
Really?
And this is a KyoAni show, right?
Yeah,
so
I mean,
like
it's
surprising.
One of, if not the best, one of the best studios. I do think it's. I don't want to say it's considered lesser to their other work. I think it is considered so tonally different to their other work, where their other work is often sort of like sweet and saccharine and kind of lovey-dovey and cutesy. And Nichijou is essentially a skit comedy show,
it's absolutely absurdist humor.
There you go. Absurdist. It's like absurdist gonzo skit, slice of life, cute girls doing cute and wild things humor. But my God, the animation in it is awesome. I think this is the funniest anime I've ever seen by it's like far, like head and shoulders above anything else.
I also think the voice acting is incredibly unique and good. Mm-hmm. I don't think any of the main three girls sound like any girls from anime I've watched.
I definitely could hear a recording of them and be like, oh, I know who that is. Like that's Mio from from Nichijou. Yeah. Agreed.
Especially Yuko's voice actor is
Yuko
she's loud, slightly grating, but it's like a perfect. She's my favorite character.
She's the idiot. Yeah, she's the idiot of the group, which is definitely
the idiot of the group.
There's so many it's really hard to sell people to be like, hey, do you want to watch high school girls anime skit comedy that's absurdist? And you're like, that doesn't sound like something I would
That's
like.
A hard sell, right? Yeah.
I think it is a hard sell, but the clip that sold me on it that I think can sell people on it is the goat, the principal wrestling the goat or the deer or whatever it is.
It's so funny. And she can't explain it to anyone. Like it's that the principal wrestles a deer in the courtyard, and Yuko's in trouble in class, and she's like made to stand outside, and she watches all this shit go down, but she can't, like, after this
She can't tell
insane
anybody.
event, she can't tell anyone because no one would believe her, and she's just stuck with this information that does nothing for her. It's just like a crazy moment. I love it.
It's that
so
one,
good.
and then I don't want to spoil it because it's one of my favorite moments. But there is like a solid like 6-minute intro skit, in one of the episodes
Yeah.
that resolves into basically just being like, it's so absurdist in the way it resolves. It like talks about these like sky pirates and they're flying a sky ship and there's all this technology and stuff going on, and the way that it ends of just sort of being like, oh, it's just that. But it's so hilarious. That's a really poor way to describe it, but I don't want to give away the twist because that's maybe one of my favorite ones. Spilling curry is another one. Doing the high jump. Those are ones that are really clippable.
I love the one where the cop thinks that like wants to do a bag check because he thinks that they're
she
using
has
counterfeit bills.
she has the BL Yowie that she's drawn in her bag. That one is also amazing. Yep. Yeah. That's the other one I was going to bring up.
That's so good. What a
or the one where is it Mio takes her hair off? and Yuko sees it and can't tell. Yeah.
There's so many situations.
There's so many little skits that are so good.
Yuko is put in where she just can't tell anyone because no one would believe her. You know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Very good.
Getting bit by the dog. Yeah. They're like, again, you can just look, this is a good show that I think you could just watch this like through clips and you like, cause it's just a skit show, right? Like,
yeah.
There's kind of one sort of connecting through line with the robot. What's her name? But, other than that,
Nano.
With Nano. Yeah. But other than that, it's literally just skit comedy. So, okay, let's keep it moving.
Next one is, Shinsekai Yori, otherwise known as, I forgot what it was.
From the New World, I think.
From the New World
is the English title.
Yeah, it's about like people and like mole rats and stuff. It's pretty cool. This
is a sci-fi classic, is how I put this. It's not that old. It's from what, 2012, 2013? Maybe
it truly is a masterpiece, and it fills me with existential dread and depression. And
yes,
I wish I could erase my memory and go back and watch it because I absolutely adored every plot point and plot beat.
I liked everything about it except for the animation at times gets a little weird, and by weird I mean that they just got low budget in the middle at sometimes.
It's this like unknown studio that did it too, and I think they went out of business because no one watched it.
I would not doubt that. Yeah, this is Shinsekai Yori is. There's a lot of things you go, oh, like it's sci-fi, but there's something about. I don't want to call it real sci-fi. I guess I'll call it classic. Like classic 1950s and 60s sci-fi is not hopeful generally, right? Generally, there's sort of this aspect of sci-fi to say, like, let's look at modern problems through a lens of skipping forward in time and sort of extrapolating that problem. And Shinsekai Yori does that, which is something that I really adore about sci-fi. And I think I have one maybe in mind where it's the same. Yeah, kind of. But that's like, I adore Shinsekai Yori in like taking wild swings and killing off main characters, and it's not necessarily full of twists, but it's one of those sort of twists and turns show where it's like, oh my gosh, like that came from this, and there's what, 3 different time skips in it.
I absolutely agree, and I think that the main girl is incredibly competent and cool. But I think the real show stealer of Shinsekai Yori is our primary antagonist, which I won't talk about. Just truly, I think of this list of my fucking favorite shows, I'd say Shinsekai Yori has the best antagonist. They are that good.
Yeah, I can see that. It is definitely, it's a very good antagonist, and it's one of those things you get to the end, and it's like the feelings I feel from the ending of Shinsekai Yori are not something that most media makes me feel, right? It's just kind of...
It's because it's a confused feeling. It's
confused and pity, and it's like, this is not... Yeah, which is, again, why I kind of like that it's that sort of classic sci-fi where it's like, let's address a problem and look at it by sort of extrapolating it and putting it in a fantasy/sci-fi world. Yeah, Shinsekai Yori is great.
And to clarify one thing, the ending itself is not confusing at all. It's very clear, but... the way you'll feel is...
the emotions it makes you feel are definitely very conflicting and confusing.
because it's everything. It's bittersweet. It's like there's hope, there's happiness, there's despair, there's the nature of man. There's like it's fucked up and it's good in so many ways. Just watch the show. I can't really say much more on it.
Yeah.
But you'll love it.
It's a very good show.
Yeah. The next one is one of my personal favorites. It would have been on the left column, but it fit that immortal theme, so it went in the middle. This is another 10 out of 10 show for me. 12 episodes long, one and done. It's called Bakano. I am not sure. This is another show nobody watched and didn't sell well. This
is sort of a Reddit darling.
It's a Reddit darling though, right? So people have heard of it.
This is definitely one where if you ask people about some of their favorite shows, Bakano's brought up. It's pretty well known opening because it has an incredible opening sequence. You can keep talking about it though, because I don't like this show.
The opening is fucking phenomenal. It's on tier. It's like if Cowboy Bebop's opening didn't exist, Bakano would be up there in contention because it's just a jam.
Yeah. I mean, the new greatest. Tank is not the greatest anime opening of all time. The greatest anime opening of all time is fucking Bling Bang Bang Born from season 2 of Mashal. That is the greatest.
You loved it that much, huh?
It's so fucking good, man. I'm gonna have to do a top 10 ranking of my favorite openings of all time because it's so good. It's maybe it's not number 1, but like God, it's top 3 for me, top 3 or 4. But
I think we'll have that'll be our first list with probably zero overlap because music is so subjective.
Tank I feel like shows up on everybody's, but it deserves to.
Yeah, okay. Tank would be the universal one. But yeah, Bakano is fucking phenomenal. It's about immortals and a train heist. And yeah, that's the main premise. I think what really shines here is how many of the characters are so incredibly charming and lovable, even though they're psychotic sociopaths, most of them. My favorite character, and I say characters even though they're 2 characters, is Isaac and Miria.
The married couple, right? Yeah.
They're not even married.
Are they not? I thought they were.
We can't even define their relationship. I don't think they do. It's like I don't even know what they are.
Yeah.
They're lovers in some way.
Yeah. Partners in crime. Yeah, for sure.
They're partners in crime.
Yeah.
They are actually the best people in the series and so incredibly lovably stupid. I adore them. My second favorite character is Lad Russo, who's a violent murderer sociopath, and he's also incredibly charming and fun.
Yeah.
Watch the show in English. I think this is the best dub I've seen in anime.
This is so Gautam and I have had this conversation a couple times. I'm a certified card holding dub hater. I think no dub is as good as the anime sub. I think some of the really good dubs are equal. Like I think Cowboy Bebop is one of those equal ones. This is the one anime I will say the dub I think is the better way to consume this. Because you get New York, you get like these sort of the aesthetic is sort of East Coast 1920s. They get on a train. There's all these New York, New Jersey accents. There's mob and mafia guys. And it's exactly the kind of thing where like you do not get the kind of vocal like subtext character acting that you get from the English dub doing those sort of like 1920s New York gangster accents, which a lot of the people have. Just works so much better than listening to it in Japanese. Like I think that they are probably doing some kind of accent too, but that's again very hard for a non-native to hear. So this is the one, again, certified card holding dub hater. This is the one thing I'll give you a pass on. The dub is better for this one specific anime.
And if you guys do watch the dub, let's talk about Lad Russo's voice actor. It is so unique and like weirdly good. It's like a guy you feel like has smoked a carton of cigarettes a little bit before he recorded, but it sounds just perfect for that fucking character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll air my grievances here. I don't like this show. I don't like the show because I think it spends way too long confusing you, and it takes way too long to introduce the thing that makes you not confused anymore. This is a 12 episode series. Episode 7 is where it fucking tells you what the hell is going on. That's too long for me. I think it needs to come earlier.
That's just a train mystery, baby.
It is, and I get that it's a mystery, but it isn't a mystery so much as like, oh, you can piece this all together of what's going on. It's like, no, you have no fucking idea what's going on. They do not give you enough information. You cannot guess anything. And then episode 7, they explain to you, you go, oh, okay. I need to
But
try to rewatch
that's kind
it.
of the classic Hercule Poirot type thing too, right? Where
It's
it's
a
like,
little bit so yeah, but it's not a. I don't
here's my
know.
argument there though. Agatha Christie talks about how there's the gray space between the connections in your brain that get filled in as he solves the case.
Yeah.
All of her cases are more or less unsolvable logically until she explains why shit is happening, because
Well,
it's not
so
meant
yeah.
to be solved by, like, it's not a detective novel, more so it is a Hercule Poirot novel kind of
Yeah, there's two different types of mysteries like with detectivism. There's a who done it and there's a how got him. These are like maybe not official terms, but these are terms I've heard before. A who done it is the kind of thing where you are trying to figure out which person did it. They provide you with all of the clues and you should be able to figure out a who done it, figure out who done it. A how got him is you can't figure any of that shit out. You're just watching to figure out how they got him. And so yeah, Poirot kind of is kind of in a weird gray area. I felt like Bacano wanted
Poirot
me
is
to,
definitely a how got him dressed up as a whodunit.
yeah, and there's I do think that some of Agatha Christie's stuff is more whodunit. She she kind of pioneered that style a lot, but she definitely plays with it a lot more in that she does, you can maybe guess who it is, but you don't necessarily have all the clues or enough clues until she tells you about all the clues at the end. But those are the two types of mysteries. Bacano is more of a how got him, although it's not really the same kind of murder mystery, so it doesn't. I don't know if it truly fits into
It's
those.
not
So.
really a murder mystery.
It's not really. It's a mystery, but it isn't. It isn't. There's one person was killed. Lots of people die in this show, so and most
Personally,
people don't die because they're immortals.
I think you just gotta go with the ride. Ride that train, baby.
I would just say as a caveat, know that you are going to be confused for over half of this show, like slightly over half of this show.
I don't think the plot. Okay, this is gonna be crazy. I don't think the plot matters.
I guess, yeah, you have to understand that you're not really watching it for the plot. You're watching it to be like, how did these characters respond in this situation? It's also told like massively out of order, and there's a lot of characters to cover and not very much time. I don't know. This is a scatterbrained show for me.
You make this sound bad when in all
because
realities,
like I said, I do not like this show. I think this show is scatterbrained. I think it takes too long to get going.
Let me
I don't like it.
pivot what you just said. And my argument is that the plot doesn't matter. If you're thinking about the plot, you're watching it for the wrong reasons. Just enjoy the ride, and every character is entertaining.
Yeah, the characters are great. Mirio and
Isaac and Miria.
Miria, yeah. They also appear. So I watched this, and then I watched Durarara, which is by the same author. I kind of prefer Durarara, but I did not watch all of it. There's like 2 or 3 seasons. I watched the first season.
It has its moments.
Durarara is more plot focused. I think that's why I liked it more. I like Celti, and I like the main character. The twist.
I like Shizuo and.
Yes, Shizuo is another one of those like the greatest characters like on anime screen.
He's my favorite in Durarara.
He's great.
Also, the info broker. I'm forgetting his name.
I know you're talking like bad, bad guy. Yeah. This author really knows characters. I can't remember their name, but they did Rara, they did Bakano. Really, really good character author for sure. Okay, let's go to Cromartie.
Yeah, Cromartie. I'll keep it short. Nobody has watched Cromartie because it's old. But you should watch the dub of this. It's fucking hilarious. It is just. I feel like it is dry and bizarre at the same time. Like the robot back there, his name is Mekazawa, and it's like only the main character really realizes he's a robot, and everyone else like is on the verge of realizing he's a robot.
Isn't addressed in the show.
Well, they're always like, Mekazawa, I've been meaning to tell you something, but it's really awkward, and don't get hurt. Don't get. They drag it on, right? Like it's like, but I have to tell you this, and it's like, well, what is it? Just say it. And they're like, well, your bottom button is unbuttoned. And he's like, oh my, how embarrassing. It's just like there's plenty of gags like that. Basically, main character goes to a delinquent high school full of weirdos, and all like one of the delinquents in the first episode is like he takes a bunch of pencils and just starts like chewing on them, like chewing them in half, and he's like, how did you get here, punk? He's like, you seem like a good kid. And the reason the main character got there is because in his old high school, they were setting up dominoes to beat the world record, and he got so frustrated having to participate that he glued like the last domino down.
Oh no.
And all the delinquents are like, oh yeah, that's messed up, bro.
That's pretty awful, yeah.
That's hard. Yeah.
That's funny.
It's
Yeah,
very good.
I haven't seen this. I've heard it's goofy. You've mentioned it to me a couple times, but yeah.
Yeah, it's classic goofs.
Yep.
I think it's just clean. I say clean comedy. It's inappropriate at times too, but it's just very fun.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, TTGL baby.
Yep. We went and saw this movie on what? Saturday?
3 days ago. Yeah.
Someday. It was it was in and out because it's very simple and easy and fun. Gurren Lagann is great.
I was in such a good mood after watching that movie.
Yeah.
It really helped me reconnect with my childhood in a way. It made me feel all the good things I felt when I watched it when I was a kid. Gurren Lagann was huge for me. I was like a introverted, awkward kid in middle school, and I feel like the message that Gurren Lagann had, which is kind of just believing in yourself, summed up, resonated with me. And I think a lot of shows and movies and whatever have that message, but this was the one that hit me.
This is one of the only or first times it comes from the angle that it does, which is, you've probably heard it said. It's like, if you don't believe in yourself, believe in the me who believes in you. That's
that's so cool. What a good
which is
line.
great. It's like, hey, you believe in the sort of older brother character says like, you don't believe in yourself, but you believe in me, right? And if you believe in me, I believe in you. So you have to believe in me who believes in you. And it's this great sort of like, it's trust
great.
other people around you to believe in their opinion of you.
Exactly. And it's such great goofy communal logic that I truly appreciate.
Yeah.
Moreover, the show is fun as fuck. It is about giant robots being powered by the power of self-worth. As goofy as that sounds, it works, and it's just great.
Yep. This is also the sort of introduction of what we'll call the trigger style, trigger story beats.
For sure.
So Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, Little Witch Academia, Darling in the Franxx. Those, there might be more, but those 4 shows for sure followed almost the exact same beat for beat 24 episode thing, where it's like the first 12 episodes, you think that these guys are the bad guys. And the next 12, it's the other guy. In the last episode or 2, they go to space. Like every single one of those shows does that. And that's like a trigger like Imaishi thing.
Gurren feels like going to space makes a lot more sense than the others.
That is true. Yeah, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann makes the most sense going to space.
By the way, by the end of the series, they're throwing galaxies around, and like the main bad guy like grabs 2 galaxies and mixes them around in his hand and shoots the Big Bang at Gurren Lagann.
Yeah,
and it's like that's what you're signing up for. That's like it's over the top, incredibly fun bullshit.
Yeah, I would also say because we just went and saw the second movie. The movie's I think a pretty good distillation of it. It's been 12 years since I've watched this show. I watched this at the end of college because it was one of the only animes that was like on Netflix. This was I watched Gurren Lagann when I was in my sort of like, holy crap, I like anime. What else? I'm going to watch everything out there. I watched this is stuff that I watched alongside like Code Geass and stuff like that. But yeah, Gurren Lagann was awesome and very excited.
What a fun fucking
very good. Yeah. My preference, I'll always fight for Kill la Kill over Gurren Lagann if you want a show directed by Imaishi.
Also amazing. Also amazing.
Show. Very, very close.
I think you can swap out Gurren for Kill la Kill, and that would make total sense to me.
Yeah.
Next show is what do you say about the show that has it all, huh? It's a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And the only thing it doesn't have is that the original show existed, so it abridged some of the content from the original show with the assumption that you watched it.
It's kind of actually difficult
to recommend on the first one. Yeah, it's like, because if you put that factor aside, like if you watch 10 episodes of the original Full Metal Alchemist and then continue on from Brotherhood.
It's 20, but yeah.
Or is it that many?
I did this a couple years ago. Yeah, you have to watch, I think, like 22 or 24. It's like the first big chunk of the original Full Metal Alchemist and then swap to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. And the first like 5 or 6 episodes kind of recaps it, but does it really short, right? Because in the original, there's like a whole flashback episode. There's the training flashback. There's like Shot Tucker takes 2 or 3 episodes to do all this stuff. And in this one, it's like, boom, episode 1 preview, episode 2 Shot Tucker, episode 3. It's just like it goes and skips them. But if you want the full experience, go read the manga. But the closest, I think it's 24 episodes. I think you have to watch 24 episodes of the original and then start Brotherhood. And then you sort of picks up like around episode 6 is where it kind of gets into new stuff. But yeah, anyways,
and but like I think that is maybe the only flaw I can find in this show. I
it
think
is. Yeah, I
aside
agree.
from it is the
Yep.
perfect show. Aside from that, and it is like a solid 10 out of 10 for me. It does everything right. It is charming. It has great characters. It has a great soundtrack.
It's
Amazing
great
voice acting.
animation. Yeah.
World building. I would just be listing every quality that makes a story if I talked about how good every part of this is.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
It's
I think the only criticism I see on it is the humor, and even that is it's not unfunny.
it
It's
has
just, I guess,
humor. It's a sense. Yeah.
yeah.
It's like it's not the humor in it is not for everyone. I definitely found it annoying. Like on the second time I watched it, maybe, or it was like, wow, these short jokes and animation changes. It's one of those things I think though, and this is why we're a manga podcast and why we recommend that people read manga is that reading the manga Full Metal Alchemist, that joke is like one panel. And the problem with animating these things is that you animate a one panel joke, it lasts, I don't know, 10 seconds, 5 seconds. It takes up a lot more of your time other than being like, funny panel, next panel. Boom, like boom, you're just done. You're like, they made a joke, we're gone.
And like I think, and you can let me know what you think on this, but even the short jokes in Full Metal Alchemist, these are like bog standard for any anime. The only reason we have an issue with FMA having them is because I feel like, is so little to criticize about it.
That's
so
true. Yeah,
we're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
And it isn't like they're bad. Like they aren't like offensive or like like offending anyone or doing anything like that. It's just like, yeah, sometimes they're not funny, or sometimes it's the same joke a couple times, a couple episodes in a row. But it's like that. Yeah, that is really the only thing. You're very right. We've talked about this manga. I worship and adore Arakawa, one of my favorite authors. Yeah, and Full Metal Alchemist is amazing, and and Brotherhood especially I think deserves to be up top there. So, all right, finish us off with Nichi Bros.
I think if there is any show that encapsulates what it is to be a high school boy, it's not even Cromartie High School. It is Danchi Kokosei no Nishijo, Daily Life of High School Boys. It is phenomenally hilarious. The brown haired guy in the top right with the glasses is voiced by Gintoki from Gintama as well. So just honestly the best male voice actor in the biz. I think
he's very well regarded. Yeah.
If I think that is enough said, but I'll give you some homework. Watch the Daily Life of High School Boys literary girl scene on YouTube.
Oh yeah,
and I think you'll get a good gist of why this is so relatably hilarious.
It's similar to Nichijou, although I would say it's less sketch and more just sort of like two little stories per episode, isn't it? Like,
yeah, well, it is just a sketch, but I would say it's not as absurdist. It's
not
more,
definitely not as absurdist.
It's more grounded in what makes high school boys weird. And Nishijo is more of I don't know. Nishijo is just an absurdist sketch comedy show that uses high school as a setting more so than it really has to do with its jokes. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Like high school is just a backdrop for Nishijo, but the Daily Life of High School Boys is very much about the daily life of high school boys.
Yeah, what it's like to be 15, 16 in high school as a boy.
I'm realizing now that the gag around Nishijo being called daily life is a joke because it is not really about daily life at all. Like what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah, people pull out rocket launchers. It's a robot. Yeah, it's very extraordinary and not really about daily life. I definitely think that is part of the joke. Cool. Gautam, read your 3x3 one more time, top to bottom.
You got it. It is Gintama, One Punch Man, Nishijo, Shinsekai Yori, Bakuno, Cromartie High School, Gurren Lagann, FMA Brotherhood, and The Daily Life of High School Boys, Danchi Kokosei no Nishijo.
Nice. There you go. All right. Let's get on to mine. Here we go. So we've got, I also tried to, I will say that my rows are pretty solid groups. My columns are a little less solid. So we've got top to bottom, left to right. Digimon Tamers, Full Metal Alchemist, Non-Brotherhood, K-On!, Evangelion, Bakemonogatari, Sakamichi no Apollyon, Kill la Kill, Toradora, and Chihayafuru. So, got any
Okay.
ideas on how these all link up?
Okay. Yeah. Let's start with our middle row because that is
Okay.
making some sense
That's
to me.
Full Metal Alchemist, Bakemonogatari, Toradora.
Oh, row. So it will be Evangelion, the Shaft
Oh,
Show,
okay.
Bakemonogatari, and
Yeah.
Kids on the Slope.
Yeah.
Um, it's about personal problems. Kids having huge personal problems. Like,
Uh I think that you can group them like that. I group those because those are just what I think are the maybe the best three shows I've seen.
okay, so that was your favorite row.
No,
Uh,
no, those are the best. Because my favorite row is a separate row which you can find.
oh, I see. Okay.
I think Evangelion is Evangelion, Bakemonogatari series, and Kids on the Slope are just some of the highest quality anime that I've seen for me.
uh, okay. Bottom row is girl power,
Yes, yeah.
girl
Bottom row
bossing.
is female leads or female. Yeah, female leads. The
Hell
what's
yeah.
his name? Ryuji is not the lead of Toradora. He is, but he's not.
And he
It's
could be a
Taiga.
female lead if he wants to be.
That's true.
Uh,
But yeah, Kill
and
la Kill, Toradora, Chihaya Furu. Yeah, girl power.
okay, the top one. This is Digimon season 3,
That is yes,
right?
Digimon Tamers season 3. So this is the reverse isekai where they are in the real world and the Digimon invade. Yeah, Digimon Tamers is the Western.
You know, Full Metal Alchemist has really thrown me off in that one.
This is more of a personal one. I don't know if you'll get this, but
Uh, they all have instruments.
no, this is the top row is really just the anime. These are just the animes that like really I don't want to say like got me into anime, but like these were like stepping stones along the way of my anime journey that were really big leaps and jumps, right? Like I had
Totally
watched
makes sense.
Pokemon and Digimon, but Digimon Tamers is like next level quality. Um,
Got it. Totally makes sense. Uh,
yeah.
the first column, which is Digimon Tamers, Evangelion, and Kill la Kill, they all go to space.
Uh,
One of them goes to cyberspace.
yeah, kind of. These are just sci-fi series, I would say. But yeah, that's essentially, yeah, go to space, sci-fi
Yeah,
fantasy type stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
The third column with K-On, Kids on the Slope, and Chihaya Furu, they're all high schoolers and they're participating in extracurricular hobbies.
Uh, that's true. I just group these more of like these are chill shows. These are more chill.
Okay, I'm getting
they
too
aren't necessarily.
specific with the
Yeah, these
things.
they aren't
Okay,
necessarily like cute girls doing cute things because that's like K-On is that, but Chihaya Furu is more chill sports, and Kids on the Slope is kind of chill drama. Yeah, they're much more just sort of low. I don't want to say low energy, but yeah, they're more chill, comfy shows in general.
okay. Now the hardest column. Is just your favorites. It's just those.
Yeah, exactly. There's a
Okay,
best there's
awesome.
a best row and a favorites row, and dead in the center of that is Bakemonogatari. So
You throw Toradora in your favorites, huh?
I love Toradora. I think it's the best romance anime. I do not think it has been beaten. Kaguya might
I,
beat it, but yeah, we'll see.
I
I haven't watched that anime, so I've only read the manga. But I think
we'll,
Toradora
we'll,
is
we'll,
awesome.
we'll get to Toradora in a bit here. We can
Yeah,
talk about that.
yeah,
Let's start with the Digimon Tamers.
yeah. I talked a little bit about it, but Digimon Tamers came out probably around 2000, maybe 2001, 2002, that area. Um, Digimon Tamers was kind of before I knew what anime was, but it was probably the first like really good anime I watched, right? I'd watched a little bit sort of a Sailor Moon. I'd watched Pokemon and Digimon before this, but those were very sort of, they were fun and I did like them, but they were not legitimately quality shows.
Ah,
Digimon Tamers is like a really good show. I like went back and watched it and like, yeah, sure, they still do Digivolve. It still has kind of that kind of, kid stuff in it, but like the main character having to like hide his Digimon, and I don't know, there's like a lot of really mature interesting stuff going on in this kind of reverse isekai. Specifically I guess in the first kind of season, because I think they did like a second season, second arc of this that's not nearly as good, but yeah. And this I'm trying to look, I'm gonna look up the director for this because I know that the director
I know
for
that.
this went on to like do like really good stuff.
Yeah. Well, aren't this? I might be conflating this with the Digimon movie, but the Summer Wars creator
That's the
Uh,
he did the movie. Digimon Tamers. Let me see if this guy's got Mal. Because I am pretty sure this guy went on to do. Yeah, this guy did like he directed. I mean, he did a bunch of One Piece stuff. Lots of very old One Piece stuff. Oh, he did Kyoso Giga, Digimon Frontier. Yeah, I mean he's Saint Seiya Mega. Oh, this is the
sounds
movie.
like
Wait, hold on, which movie is
like
this?
old school stuff. Wait,
Take Aim, the Pirate Baseball King. Okay, that's not actually a movie.
That's made up. Nobody.
That is a One Piece movie that happened. I thought this guy. Here we go. Freak here. I don't know. He's very well known. I guess maybe it's not director, maybe it's writer or something. But
I think it's kind of crazy that none of us put Bebop on our list.
Yeah, that's a good call out. I like Bebop. I don't love Bebop.
I love Bebop. I think I'd get rid of Danchi and put it on the list if I didn't care about the theme so much.
Yeah, we may be caring a little bit too much about the themes.
That's the best part. That's the best part.
It's I think purely the episodic nature of it makes me like it less, and that is not necessarily a knock against its quality because it is absolutely potentially the greatest looking TV like anime maybe of all time still. Like it's the animation and the amount of cost production that went into it is still awesome and it is amazing, but I just really prefer connected stories.
Fair enough.
So yeah. So anyways, after Digimon Tamers, the next sort of big stop in my journey is the original Full Metal Alchemist. I watched this in college, and this was one of sort of two shows that I watched in college with my roommate at the time that really got me like holy shit, this is a whole new different version of storytelling of these like massive connected stories. It was this and a show called Samurai 7 or Samurai 8. I don't know.
I felt the same way watching FMA, the regular as well. Did it feel to you like you were watching something special after?
Yeah. Absolutely. After you get to the point where they sort of like figure out what the not sorcerer's stones. What are they called?
Philosopher's Stones.
Philosopher's Stones. Yeah. I was Americanizing the Harry Potter version.
The Harry Potter, yeah.
Yeah. Once you sort of get to that moment in the story, and I saw the sort of character's reaction to that, I was like, "Whoa, this is not a normal thing, and this is way different. This is way better." Yeah, and I will still say, like, we were talking about it earlier with Brotherhood, right? How you should watch the first 20 or 24 episodes of the original and then watch the new one. It's not like you're not watching a worse anime. You're watching an anime take its time and tell the same story with like a couple of filler episodes here and there. And I even will say that for series that have had to make up content or finish out an anime before a manga was finished being published, I think the ending of the original Full Metal Alchemist is still pretty darn good. Like
it's phenomenal. It's truly not 2003 FMA's fault that Brotherhood is perfect. The
only reason Brotherhood is perfect is because it follows Arakawa's manga, and that manga is perfect. So yeah, but I mean, if this was just an original show, or that was the only ending, or if Arakawa had followed this ending, like I would not be disappointed. I even really like the movie at the end of the series where like minor spoilers where it's like dual universe Germany and they're like the Alphonse brothers or the Elric brothers are over there. So yeah, this is just one of those things again where I watched Samurai 7 and I was like, yeah, that was cool and a complete connected story and I liked it. And then I watched Full Metal Alchemist and it was just like, wow, this is such a like mature, like it isn't just a shonen. It's one of the first shows I watched. It's like, this is not just a shonen, right? This is very much kind of that shonen seinen split. It has a lot of adult themes. It has a lot of blood and violence. Again, everything else I can heap praises on Full Metal Alchemist for is more attributed to Arakawa, but the original stuff that they did in this series at the end, I thought was really good. I finished this probably like right when Brotherhood was starting to air. And I included this, and I will tie this one to the next one into K-On! Full Metal Alchemist and K-On!, and specifically Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and K-On! Were two of the shows that I started watching in either like late 2008, early 2009 that only had English translations up to a certain point, and then they had Japanese translated published episodes that you could watch with English subs but no dubs. So Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood and K-On! season 2 specifically, were the two shows that essentially swapped me over to subs from dubs. And so those are really important in my journey.
It's funny you mentioned, because I've watched FMA both subbed and dubbed a few times.
Yeah, it's good both ways.
It's good both ways, to the point where I can hardly tell the difference. Like, I know that's a crazy thing to say, but they sound like they do in both versions, regardless of the languages being different.
Yeah, FMA, Cowboy Bebop, those are two of the shows I would put in the sub and dub are equal. You can watch either. They're both good. Baccano is the only better dub. But yeah, I mean, K-On! Is, okay, I've dropped numerous times. This is kind of I'll say this is my favorite show as a joke. But like, I really fucking love K-On!, man. Like,
it's great.
This is KyoAni again, and it's amazing to me as someone who, especially at the time that I watched this, like, played a lot of guitar. I mean, college, like all the college guys played guitar, played bass, was around, people who knew how to play drums, played some rock band stuff in high school, played jazz band, was, very musical in that time of my life. And I could go, I have to get it out of my room. Yui's guitar, I have that Sunburst Les Paul. I own that guitar. That's like how much this like influenced me. Like, I own that electric guitar. When I bought an electric guitar, I told, my mom or whoever's helped me buying it, I was like, I want a Sunburst, like Gibson Les Paul. And that's what I have with the two pickups. Yeah. And it's amazing to me in this show how accurate they get, like every note played, every chord pressed, the rhythms, everything. The songs are catchy. You want to talk about like great OPs and endings. This series has amazing of them. I think my favorite segment, just sort of like part in any anime of all time, it gives me chills even thinking about it. The opening of season 2 of K-On!, which is just called K-On! 2 exclamation points, it's so fantastic. It's Yui sitting in the room, like singing to herself and playing guitar, and just like doing a guitar solo while all these sort of like daily life things happen in the background. It's so awesome, and it's so fun. It's so cute. There's very minor drama. This is the essential cute girls doing cute things, and it's cute girls doing cute things plus rock and roll, which I am pretty. Anyone who talks to me about music will know that it's not the only genre of music I like, but it is the majority of music that I like is just straight rock and roll. So cute girls doing cute things, great animation studio, rock and roll. It's awesome. And there is a clip, just to go to show more quality of it. When the clips get shared a lot is the Ritsu and Yui voice actors doing their character's voice, imitating a sumo wrestler's voice. And it's some of it, like, that is stuff that is really quality voice acting, right? To voice a character who is then imitating another different character.
That's great.
Yeah, and it's one of these clips that gets shared of like, I can't believe how good this voice acting is. And yeah, it's great. I love these girls. They're awesome. The movie is great. The animation is amazing. The rock and roll is good. I love all of it. Yeah. This is easily, I think actually this is my number 2 show. And if I'm feeling like down or depressed and this is on, this might be my number 1 show. So.
And if you guys want to see, like, top 10 anime betrayals, if you want to see the number 1 on that list of every list, just type in Mugi Strawberry. If
you've seen a clip from K-On!, it's probably the Mugi Strawberry betrayal, or that was a meme for a while.
That was an old school anime meme. That
was an anime meme in like 2010.
Younger, you should check that out. Yeah.
If you haven't seen this show, this is, in my opinion, the best cute girls doing cute things show, and this is also one of the best, just like rock. Like, if you liked Bocchi the Rock, this is a little bit different. But like, if you like the rock and roll aspects of Bocchi the Rock, this is like the rock and roll here is like really, really well performed, really good. I love the show. Yep. Okay. Let's go from cute girls doing cute things to depressed people getting in robots. Evangelion. What more do you even have to say other than Evangelion is as good as the people who praise it say it is, and it is not as bad as the people who don't like it say it isn't.
I think who cares about their opinion? It's so iconic. I can say I'm so fucked up, and everyone knows exactly what scene I'm talking about. And there's like a million moments like that. That's just Evangelion. It's that impactful.
Yeah. I think that here's one of the reasons this is on my list is that like Evangelion, I have a really personal connection to, and I think that a lot of people who really like Evangelion also have this connection. So I'll call it out. And I think a lot of people who don't like Evangelion, it's because they don't understand it by not having this connection. Is it like I have had clinical depression and been treated for it, historically. And when you've been depressed and you watch Shinji go through what he goes through, Shinji is easily the most relatable anime character to me, like ever. Like, do I drive giant robots? No, but when he like just runs away on the train and has his headphones in, and people are like, oh my God, this guy is so shitty. Why doesn't he just get in the robot? And it's like, really? If you haven't been depressed to the point that you're just like laying in bed or getting in your car and not wanting to go to work, like that's such a relatable thing for so many people, myself included. And that's all Shinji is, right? Is he's clinical depression. I mean, Ano has admitted, like he's very self-inserted. Was a very depressed guy when he made this, clinically depressed, not depressed, like just sad. And it's also one of those things. This is specifically the TV series, but if you go through and watch all of the TV series and the movies and the rebuild of Evangelion movies, it's heartening and it's amazing to watch as someone, who's not at 100% every day, but much better about my depression now and better about accepting it and moving through it. It's great to sort of watch Ano also make those same kind of progressions over the past, I mean, at this point, like almost 30 years. I will also say
what an incredibly positive ending to that series.
Yeah, well, the ending to the end of Evangelion, and even honestly, the ending of the series.
The rebuild. Yeah, the rebuild had a very positive and hopeful message, and so did End of Eva in a way, but it was bittersweet.
Well, End of Eva is a little bit different. I would say that just the very end. Yeah, I guess it sort of ties in with the very end. But yeah, minor spoilers for End of Evangelion. It's been more than 25 years, so I can just go with spoilers. The fact that Shinji spends the whole series being depressed, and Ano still manages to get him at the very end of End of Evangelion movie to say like, yes, I am very depressed, but I still choose to live, right? There's the famous scene with him and Asuka at the very end. It is essentially a giant... the whole series isn't about this, but the ending very much is that, yes, I am sad. No, the answer is not to end my life. Like, I think that is like it's such a powerful thing for media to say. And if you don't understand that because you haven't been depressed or you haven't had suicidal thoughts, I understand that. I think a lot of us who have been through that look at Evangelion as this like great, amazing artistic masterpiece, like I do, because it's like, yeah, how many artistic things have gone and said, I understand what it's like to run away from responsibility, and depression makes you do that. I understand how hard it is to connect with people when you're just sad and depressed. I understand how alienating it is, with these girls around him and these people forcing him to do things that he doesn't want to do. And to still at the end of all of that say, well, that sucks, but I'm still not going to choose to just get rid of my life, because that's not the answer. The answer is to keep going. Even if the whole world is tang, you just got to keep going. And I think that's easily one of, if not the most uplifting, sort of ending to a series about depression. I mean, they all sort of end in a.
And I think Kamsuser Todd is like such a beautiful song. I still like listen to it and get sad.
Yeah, and the animation in these is so fantastic. If you have not seen the Evas fighting, especially in the end of Evangelion movie and in the rebuild movies, the animation here is fantastic. This is a very important, powerful series in my opinion, and I think it's artistically immaculate, even though the last two episodes of the series are kind of out of money. It's okay. End of Evangelion exists. So yeah, Eva's very important.
I will say, aside from the meaningful aspect of like what makes this series great, there's also a lot of cool sci-fi. A small example will be that an Evangelion had to fire a giant sniper rifle railgun. And
and they had to use all of the energy power in Japan to do so.
Yeah, they turned off Japan for one shot at the gun, and it's just like cool. It's a very cool sci-fi shit.
Yeah, Ano has this and he does this even in his live action movies, right? Godzilla, not -1. What's Godzilla? Shin Godzilla. Is the
Yeah,
one that
Shin
Anno
Godzilla.
directed. That has all of this cool. There are scenes from Shin Godzilla that you could take the voiceovers from and just plug them into a scene from Eva, right, where they're in the control worlds and they're talking about LCL levels at this terminal and get this thing and boost this. He has this. He has this weird hard on for like, let's just have 3 or 4 minutes of people saying technical things. Like,
And I'm here for it, man. It makes me panic.
it's
just like it does
very
them.
it's very much his style, and it's cool. Yeah, I mean, the start of every end of Evangelion movie, right? The third and the fourth one especially. Right? The third one they're doing the space rescue. The fourth one is Mari doing her fight in Paris. Those are
Yeah.
both just chocked full of random techno jargon that makes no fucking sense, but it makes it seem real. It makes it seem so cool. It's a world building element. It's very cool.
And the size and the scope of it all is very like it's cool seeing like shotgun shells fall next to the Eiffel Tower and be almost the size of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah,
right? And it's
tanks
like,
driving alongside, and shooting, and they're, it takes 3 tanks end to end to be the size of a foot of an Eva or something.
yeah,
I mean,
so cool.
it's we could talk endlessly about how influential Evangelion was, especially to the mech genre, which was
True.
already pretty big, but we don't have. There's a lot of other media that we don't have today. But yeah, I'm going to skip my middle one because I want to save it for last, but I'll skip over to the right. We'll skip Bakemonogatari. We'll go over to Sakamichi no Apollyon. This is called Kids on the Slope in the West. This is one of Mappa's first animation endeavors. This lines up again with K-On! In sort of a musical thing. This is about a pianist boy who kind of moves out to the country in like late early 50s, very post-war Japan. Meets a guy who's like a jazz drummer. He's a classical pianist. The guy's a jazz drummer. He like introduces him to jazz. And it's about the connection of these 2 guys and the girl over jazz performance. And it's very sort of comfy, melancholy, post-war. How are we recovering? Everyone's kind of poor. We're getting over it. Connection through music, connection through high school. This is a very, very, very good show that I do not really hear people talking about anymore. This would be easily like top 5 best anime dramas I've ever watched, like maybe best top 1. I mean, it's in the row of just my like good shit row. Yeah. It's awesome.
Is there a reason why the guy is like dressed like a sailor?
I mean, so that the like girls wear like a quote unquote like sailor uniform when they're in high school, right? I think I think at this point in Japan, things were a lot more like literally it was just like you're in high school, you're wearing like a pseudo military Navy thing. So like it's something like that, right? He has a striped shirt just because it's like identifiable, but like the hat and everything is just like that's just their high school uniform. So
Got it. Huh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
This is a drama. This is great. I would say, especially if you are into music performance, if you're sort of a music performer or you've connected with people over music performance in the past, Sakamichi no Apollyon is definitely for you. In the same way that K-On! Is sort of like, get your happy, cute girls and like really actually the best music performances ever. Sakamichi no Apollyon also has very, very good drumming and piano performances, like animated correct like finger placements on keys and sticks hitting the right things on drums, which is not always the case, right? So those are the kinds of details that I really like to see, especially in musical performance. Like as someone who's played a bunch of different instruments, anytime anyone's faking playing an instrument on screen, it's immediately evident. I would say anyone who's played an instrument for a year in high school. If you played trumpet for a year in junior high or whatever, and you see someone fake playing trumpet, you can tell.
It's the same with like video games. It's like you just know.
Yeah, you can't fake playing video games once you've played enough video games. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's funny that a bunch of these lined up, right? You had Nichijou in the top right corner, and I have my cute girls doing cute things. I have K-On!, and then you had Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann bottom left, and I have Kill la Kill in the bottom left.
Brother.
This is something that is kind of a theme for almost all of my shows is that, and again, because we're sort of a manga podcast, and I really want to sort of uplift and advertise for manga rather than anime. Picking something that is anime only and picking things that use the medium of animation to tell their story in an elevated or different way is very much the kind of show that I like. And we'll definitely get into that more. I mean, Evangelion is anime original. K-On! Is way better animated than it was in manga form. Digimon Tamers anime original. Sakamichi no Polygon, it might be based on a light novel. I think that's anime original. Chihaya Furu, I would say, is definitely an upgrade. Toradora also. But yeah, Kill la Kill. I mean, a lot of the same trigger stuff, right? It's wild, it's crazy. I think, what's her name? Mako Manshoku is people either think she is the most annoying character or the funniest.
She's my favorite character.
I love her. It does the sort of twist in the middle of the season of, oh yeah, the people we thought were the bad guys are now our friends is great, because the bad guy characters for the first half, what are they even called? The like 3-star generals or whatever, are
the Nazi youth. Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, they're very militaristic. I would not call them Nazis, but like Gamagori is amazing. The big guy, they're all so good. I think that Nudist Beach is amazing. The hype, like one of the gifts that I like to send a lot is like Hype Thrusters Activate, which is from Kill la Kill, like the boat. Again,
the dick boat.
Yeah, it's like it's so funny, and it's so funny, and like the animation in it is so good, and Trigger is so incredibly smart with their animation, in that they will, under animate a thing, or they'll reuse Mako's scene, her like meme scene for like 16 times through the whole series. And when it shows up, it isn't like, oh my gosh, they're reusing the same animation. You go, oh, it's the Mako, it's the Mako diatribe time. Great. She's talking. It's doing great. They're so smart about it. I think this is for me Trigger's best series. This is, it's like female empowering at the same time. It has all of these kind of comments, although it doesn't go super deep, onto like, are the clothes that we wear important? Is covering our bodies important? Why do we cover what parts of our bodies? It's really about that. It's about the hype fights. They go to space. It's awesome. The threads are space magic. There's always
it is very similar to Gurren Lagann, where the theme is self-acceptance, but it represented in dope fights, right? Like dope, insane animated fights.
Yeah, for awesome. Sure. And it's also about, this is, for me, this is the one that makes the most sense. I think for me, Gurren Lagann, the place where it kind of slows down is after there's a big event, like 7 or 8 episodes in. I think it kind of slows down in the middle. To me, the middle section
that's intentional.
But to me, the middle section of Kill la Kill is like easily the best part, like, because you sort of get an intro, you get a couple of wacky stuff, and then it's like, okay, Ryuko is now like fighting the 3-star generals, and then you find out the kind of main twist, and now she's joining up with the bad guys, and now she's learning, and now it's Nudist Beach, and now there's all these other wacky people, and it's just like, after about episode like 6 or 7, it just goes, and it does not stop, and it's awesome. And what a great like henshin transformation type thing, right? Like those, I mean, if you were not on the internet when the show was coming out, which it is now 10 years old, by the way, there was GIFs and remakes, everywhere of Ryuko and her sister, whose name I'm forgetting, doing their transformation thing with Senketsu, and Yeah.
And I don't know if you watched the epilogue episode, Bruce. It's also very good.
Maybe, I don't remember. Is it the one where like Ryuko and her sister go on like a date or something, right?
No, it's it's a final thing at the school. It's just a send off for the series.
Okay, maybe it was like the post credits. I think had that, maybe where they were just like together or whatever. But
that was in the post credits. Yeah,
this is great. I mean, it's essentially like every powerful main character in this series is a girl, and even 10 years ago, that was very progressive. I think we still need more stuff like this even today. Of just like, give me a hype show with a girl lead and a girl antagonist, and then when those two join up later, give me another girl antagonist, and give me
hell yeah.
There's boys in this, but they're side characters, all of them. And I think that's really important. I think that's really cool. It makes me like it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have Fight Club Mako on my fight stick for fighting games.
Oh, so
I love this show. It's
that's a great episode. Good. Yeah, and visually, like the giant bold red letters that show up when it announces, where you are or who someone is awesome. The Senketsu, the talking sailor uniform, is awesome. The 3-star, I don't know. It's just like everything about this is so wild and so Trigger. Like Trigger, I think, has not gone this hard since they made this show, right? Like,
I'd love to see something like it again.
Yeah, like Little Witch is, again, it follows a lot of the similar beats, but it's a little bit more calmer, more tamer.
And
it
it's
isn't
different.
quite as wild. It is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little more magical than sort of action-y, I guess.
I feel like only Kill la Kill and Gurren Lagann can truly be compared with each other. You know, like those
for sure. Those
shows,
two are the ones that just went the hardest, and pick your favorite. So, all right, moving right along. In my girl power row down here, next one we have is Toradora. Like I mentioned at the start, I think this is easily the best anime, best romance anime around. Every single year Reddit does a rewatch, and I always check on Christmas Eve. The Christmas Eve episode of Toradora is one of the most emotionally impactful anime episodes I have ever seen. If you've seen the series, you know what I'm talking about. I would say that, and then the end of most of Clannad After Story was also very emotionally impactful, but Toradora kind of surprised me in, heartfelt. I don't know. It's just, it's full of these really, you think they're funny, goofy, over the top characters that are slowly kind of humanized and made more relatable over time. Taiga and Ryuji both have issues that are, real person issues of disconnected from family or poor, or whatever. And all the other side characters also have issues. I like the trope. It's a little bit of a, Cyrano de Bergerac. Do you remember when I mentioned this like 6 months ago on the podcast?
No. What does this mean?
Okay, Cyrano de Bergerac is I think it's a stage play. It might be a book first. I don't remember which one. Cyrano de Bergerac is about a poet who is like ugly and has a really big nose, and he helps a prince by like feeding him lines, and the prince falls in love with the girl, but the girl's really in love with Cyrano because Cyrano is the one who's actually like telling him what to say. I like this trope of like, this person likes this person. Help me to get to, you're his friend, right? This whole thing starts out with, basically there's the two main characters who are kind of obviously the two that are going to end up together, like two different people in the start. And they're both like, hey, you're friends with this person or you're best friends with this person. Help me like get in with them because I like them. I like that trope of like, hey, be my friend and help me out. And that leads to sort of an evolving relationship. I don't know. It's just a trope that I just really enjoy. It feels really realistic.
It's a good one.
Like,
it's a good one, and it sets itself up for like a really interesting narrative, which I think Toradora delivers on.
And it also presents more than just like, oh, it isn't just about a guy falling in love with a girl. It's like it also talks about like, well, how do you move on from a crush? When do you know when you should move on from a crush? If it's hard, like, and I don't know. If you've seen Toradora, you know what I'm talking about. The Christmas Eve episode is sort of the culmination of a lot of that stuff, right? Of the original girl, like realizing her feelings, but then the guy has moved on, and I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't want to spoil everything because it's such an immaculate show. It's so wonderful. The animation here, I think, again, is really, really good. Both the openings are really good. There's like Pura Parade, I think is maybe the second opening is again one of my favorite openings. This is a great show. I should watch this.
I think it's solid.
You've probably seen me wear. I have a T-shirt with the Toradora stuff on it. I'm trying to remember how many of these I have T-shirts for. I don't have a Chihaya Furu T-shirt. I don't have a Digimon T-shirt, but I have Full Metal Alchemist. I have a K-On. I have an Eva. I have a Monogatari.
Yeah, they don't have a
Toradora
Kids on the Slope T-shirt either. I bet.
I would imagine they do not. I don't think I have a Kill. I don't remember if I have a Kill la Kill shirt. I feel like I do.
Kill hoodie, so
you have the Kill la Kill shirt. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I was like, I have the Kill la Kill shirt.
Yeah, I have the
the Senketsu hoodie. Yeah.
Yeah, the Senketsu hoodie.
That's right. Yeah, that's a cool.
I think Toradora is good. I think it falls off at the end. And
yes, I don't know. Some people have issues with the ending. To me, everything past episode like 20 or past this sort of Christmas Eve episode and maybe the episode directly after that is all sort of falling action from the climax. Like the Christmas Eve episode is the climax of that show. Like that is where everything comes to a head. And I think a lot of people like the climax to be right at the end, so it feels satisfying. But like everything after it is falling action. And so it does feel a little bit like it's just slower.
I liked Ryuji so much better than Taiga that I think there was like a skewed perspective I had with the series in general. But here's a hot take that I think everyone's least favorite character is probably my favorite character in that series, which is Ami.
Oh no,
I
I mean
just
I love Ami as a character. You are kind of supposed to hate her at times. It is intentional, but yeah.
you're supposed to hate her until like her last appearances in the show, in which case she completely pivots to being just the most rational, kind of competent, like emotionally understanding person. I feel like in the show, I think she gets a wider perspective than anyone else in the series,
She's
which is
one of
why I
the
like her.
more complex because her, as you can see, there's like 5 characters on screen in this little preview, right? 4 of those people are in sort of a love X slash multiple triangles of where they like one of the
Yeah,
others, but then they end up liking other people. And Ami is kind of not a part of that, but wants to be. She's a very complex character. I really enjoy her.
yeah, the blue haired girl.
Yeah, blue haired girl.
Yeah, but
Cool.
either way, I think it's a solid show. I very much love their parrot.
It's hard to find many more uh, romance that I think are sort of on this, especially sort of like a self-contained level, right? Of like, I think this is
Yeah,
just
yeah,
24
100%.
episodes, like, or maybe it's like 30 or something, but it
It
starts,
does
they
it
get
so
through
well in
it, it
such a short
ends.
time, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's especially, yeah. It's not like, because Kaguya-sama, is like 3 seasons and probably another 2, so it's going to end up being, 80 episodes or something. And I do think Kaguya is probably the only other thing I would put in the running for this. And I watched season 1, and I do think that's an excellent adaptation that does
you should
add
check out
things.
The Dangers of My Heart.
Yeah, I've read some of the Dangers of My Heart. I like that one a lot too.
I think it's up there. It's just so phenomenally good at character development.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd be curious. I'd be
yeah,
curious if the anime is adding animation specific things. One of the reasons I like Toradora and Kaguya-sama as anime is that they take the medium of anime and actually do something different with it. They in Kaguya, especially, a lot of the jokes are sort of written page turning jokes, and they take a lot of those into the anime and change them and
and
make them
translate them
work for
properly.
animation. And I
Yeah,
think that's something that it's just like you cannot just adapt a manga 1-to-1 and have me say like, yes, well, that's very good. You could do that maybe with like Full Metal Alchemist, but that's about the only
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But even then, right, you're adding animation and stuff like that's Arakawa's one, maybe not her art's not the best. Anyways, we're gonna get distracted. I'm gonna talk about Yomi no Sugai the whole time. But okay.
Yeah. All
All
right,
right,
let's
one
move on to the
more
next
and then
one.
we'll get to my favorites. Chihaya Furu. Speaking of good romances, Chihaya Furu is a love triangle. Also, it's also like one of the best sports anime of all time, like in my opinion. Uh, this is about a girl who plays a card game called Karuta, which is a very Japanese specific type thing. If you're interested in it, I would definitely watch the first. Just start watching it. It's really excellent. The character stuff here is very complex. There's a lot of a which guy will she end up with stuff kind of through it. This is originally a josei, or is this shoujo? I guess this is shoujo. I don't know, but
But
yeah,
the answer is the brunette guy, right?
I don't remember. I think no, I actually don't remember. This series I think has ended 2 years ago, year and a half ago. Um, I don't remember who she ends up with. I think
Got it.
yeah, I don't know. Because both guys at the end are both like they're all three like going hard into playing Karta and trying to be like the Grandmaster guy or whatever. But this is such like an immaculately like gorgeously told anime. The way that this sort of like progression of the characters and the side characters' skills and abilities, along with their sort of growth as characters. We talked about this with talking about Hayaku when we talked about our anime, or sorry, talked about our manga 3x3s. Go check out that episode. The fact that you can line up sort of these sports action events with character development in the same kind of moment. Chihaya does that very excellently. Characters will not necessarily win or lose based on the character development, but when they win or lose, it is related to the growth they have as a character of, a confession or I was working on this thing and I need, more self-confidence or whatever. It's just a gorgeous show. And it's just like so gorgeous. I cannot stress enough how few people still talk about this show also, when I think it's like easily one of the best anime of like, I mean, this isn't necessarily a top 9 in my 3x3, but I could probably place everything except for maybe like Digimon Tamers and the original Full Metal Alchemist, like 1-to-1 in my top 10, and all these shows would be up there. So yeah, Chihaya Furu is really, really good.
Yeah, I only hear good things about it. I think yeah, of course there's like a lot of good shit that we left out just due to adhering
So many
to
good things.
themes.
Yeah.
And it's more fun adhering to themes
Yeah.
But
I also totally changed mine because I had some movies in there that we decided to just go with series, which is totally fine. Because yeah, I mean, there's like I really wanted to bring up like Jinro the Wolf Brigade is one of my favorite anime things of all time. Akira,
March Comes in Like a Lion.
March Comes in Like a Lion is a really good show. That's not finished, so didn't really want to put. I mostly like putting finished shows up here. I don't think I have any unfinished stuff up here, right? Bakemonogatari, kind of unfinished. They announced more series of that.
I wouldn't
like
really call
2
any
weeks
of
ago.
this unfinished. You know, like I feel like they all, even if Bakemono is still going, I feel like if it's self-contained enough in one season, I'd still count it as finished. Yeah.
Well, and let's talk about that one because Bakemonogatari series is my favorite anime of all time. This is Nisue Isin. This is a story about Araragi and all the girls in his life who are either possessed or fucked up monster creatures or just cute or undead or vampires. This series, like I was talking about a little earlier, where bringing something on screen as an anime in the animation medium, if you do something special and interesting with that, you have my attention and you have my praise. And to me, watching Bakemonogatari and experiencing it as an anime is one of the most unique and most like exceptionally cool things I've ever seen. If you've seen an episode or two or clips from Monogatari, you'll know the sort of like the cut to like red sheet, blue sheet, black sheet. The dialogue overlaps, the kind of sort of quick cuts, the interesting camera angles, the cool color grading and color style choices they've got. It even has really good like action scenes when they come up. There's only a couple of them, but when they do come up, it's one of the most like, and I'm a character first person. I think character is definitely sort of the most important thing in any story. I usually do need some kind of plot to tie together, but to me, I cannot
You're just doing a drive-by on Baccano again, I see.
I am doing a drive-by on Baccano because I do think Baccano has great characters, and I think it just is right below that line of plot where I couldn't get into it. But the Monogatari series has, and I think this is sort of affirmed by how popular like every single one of the girls and even Araragi is in sales media, wherever you want to say it, in body pillow covers. The characters in this are so good and so unique and so interesting. And the dialogue, like, my God, the voice acting here. Nisue Isin is known as this sort of witty dialogue guy. And if you find a good translation of Bakemonogatari, man, it sings and you have to, it eyes glued to the screen, ears glued because you cannot look away or you'll miss something. And you're going to miss things, and that's okay because the really important stuff lasts. I don't know. This is just the epitome of character development first, right? Every arc is based on a single character. It follows them from the start to a completion of some kind of character growth or change. There's a fantasy element to it. There's some action things that answers a lot of interesting questions, like Nisa Monogatari, right? Which is like copy story is I guess what it's called, or like clone story maybe. Ask the question like, if I'm emulating something, like it essentially asks the question, hey, if you're emulating a piece of art and you can replicate it exactly, is that art created as much value as the original? And if not, why not? I don't know. Ask other interesting questions, like should brothers brush their sisters' teeth?
No.
And if they do, how should they do it?
They shouldn't.
That's very interesting questions to ask and try to answer. Yeah, I don't know.
What's Senju Gahara's deal? Why is she a sadist?
She just is. I don't know. She's easily the best. I think she's probably my favorite girl. I don't know. She's the first one. She seems like that, but it's an outward cover because she was sort of like abused.
Wait, you can't say it's an outward cover when she staples the dude's face in like the first.
Yes, she does staple
right?
dude's face. But luckily he is part vampire and it does not hurt him. But she would have still done that. Yes, her aggression is, and she like openly admits this at times in the anime. Her aggression is because if she is not that aggressive, she gets taken advantage of, and that's happened to her in the past. So,
got it.
She does that to keep people at bay because the times when she's connected with people or been open and vulnerable, she's been hurt in various ways. Later on, like even past the first, I don't know, like 12 episodes or so, like the first season, when Shinjigahara and Araragi actually start dating, there's no big spoilers there. She kind of plays with him with that aggressive personality, but is not stapling his mouth anymore, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. And
Yeah.
For what it's worth, it never rubbed me the wrong way because Araragi seems like he's into it.
Yes, he very much is into girls. Yeah, that is true. I don't know. I cannot heap enough praise on the Monogatari series. This is, the more I think about it, this is my favorite anime series. It's also incredibly long. It has every type of story style you can imagine. Again, and the big thing here is that this is an anime that is doing something interesting with its visuals, with the anime medium, with the sounds, with the styles, the camera cuts, the backgrounds, like all of that stuff is interesting and is a choice by the director. And that's the sort of the big visual element of anime, right? Is the big thing that separates it from either the light novels, which these are based on, or the manga, which there is a version of. And so that's what I'm really like when I'm looking for a good anime. It has to have good visuals. I think all of these have really good visuals.
I think Bakemono is just truly beautiful. Like, and I haven't watched much either. It's just like
I know I've been begging you for like 6 years to watch more, but
the initial reason I never watched, I didn't watch much, is because there are some title cards or whatever text that flashes on the screen for a brief period of time, and I kept having to pause to like parse what the text was to catch it in the action because it's like a split second, and I was getting pissed off. And then Bruce told me it doesn't matter. Don't worry about that. I'm like,
they're
okay.
mostly like the ones that you sort of like want to quote unquote like pay attention to are usually just flashing like either repeating text that was said or saying like emotions and stuff that characters are feeling. If it flashes like 10 words in a row and you get 2 or 3 of them, you've gotten what you need to get. Again, it's just like a very visually interesting thing. Like no other series like does that, where they just flash text on the screen like really fast and you're supposed to pick up on it and read it.
It's cool. It's just I felt like it felt like homework a little bit.
Yes,
when I thought I had to catch everything.
It is also another thing where you may have to pause it to read some of the like translator notes and stuff. Nisoi Yusin is an incredible wordsmith in Japanese, and translating that to English is impossible, I would say, most of the time. Finding a good translation of this is pretty paramount. I can recommend, if you can find it, there was a translator group from years and years ago. They might still be around. I don't know. There's a translator group called Coal Girls, who I think have just the most immaculate version of Bakemonogatari you can find. If you can find their version, definitely go check it out. So, yep, that's it. That's my 3x3. Those are my 9. I'll go through them again from the top here. We have Digimon Tamers, Full Metal Alchemist, the original, K-On!, Evangelion, Bakemonogatari series, Sakamichi no Apollyon / Kids on the Slope, Kill la Kill, Toradora, and Chihayafuru. That's
good list,
it.
man.
18 good anime with only 1 slight overlap. I'm impressed by these because we have very similar tastes and stuff, and both our anime and manga 3x3s have had very, very little overlaps.
Yeah, and I'm kind of glad because there's so much incredible quality anime and manga out there that I'm glad we have no overlap so we can cover more of them.
Yeah, and if you told me, hey, you can't use those 9, go pick another top 9, I could be like, okay,
it would be easy, right? Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Is Katana Gatari Nisoi Yusin?
Yes, it is. And Katana Gatari is another one that you could put up here as that could be in my top 10. That's an amazing thing.
What a fucking phenomenal show that is.
Yeah. Nisoi Yusin is great, except for the new thing he did, which is not that great.
Coding Laboratory. Whatever it's called. Cypher Academy.
Cypher Academy. Yeah, there you go. Cypher Academy. Yeah. I mean, like here's like some honorable mentions things, right? Like Cowboy Bebop we didn't put on there. He's a good. I think Welcome to the NHK was another one that I almost put on there. I think that's another
pretty solid one.
Yeah, it's another one I think that very much deals with that sort of depression and antisocial aspects and stuff. Darker Than Black, I really wanted to get on here. I have some issues with that show, but I fucking love Darker Than Black.
I think the show's too inconsistent to put on my list.
It's inconsistent.
Yeah,
its second season
really
is
good, right?
awful, but God, I love the world building. I love the power system in that. Clanid is the other one I think that I probably left off that I really wanted to put on here. Clanid and Clanid After Story were another one of those series that I watched as I was getting into anime that really, I mean, like, I hadn't cried at much media before I cried at like After Story. Like, it's so emotionally gut wrenching.
And Steins Gate, like, isn't on neither of ours, which is surprising.
I wanted to put Steins Gate on here, and I do think it probably shows up in my top 10, even though it's not on this one. I think Steins Gate is immaculate. I think everyone who says it's so slow for the first half, fuck you. That's what I have to say.
Yeah,
fuck you. It's not. Well, and I think people overlook is that the first episode is like not slow at all. The first episode is super cool and full of tons of mystery, and it does slow down after episode 1. But if episode 1 really grabs you, that's what the latter half of the season of the show is about. So yeah,
you couldn't have made the stakes at the end as good as they were without the first half of the show being the way it was, and it wasn't even slow. It was interesting and fun.
It's interesting and very good. Yeah, it's great. Madoka Magica is another one might show up on my top 10 or 15, even though it's not on here. Psychopaths I think is amazing. I almost put Psychopaths on here instead of like Kill la Kill.
Yeah,
although that again has like
good fucking options.
Yeah. What else? We don't have Silver Spoon is not on here. That's a great anime.
Absolutely, yeah.
You had it in your manga. So I think Attack on Titan as an anime is fucking phenomenal. Again, I had Attack on Titan on my manga thing, so definitely go check that out. Yuru Camp is another one I think is really good. Oh yeah, the one that I think I really wanted to put on here, but I didn't quite get is a Sorayori Motoi Basho, is a place further than the universe. That's Antarctica Girls. That is a fantastic show. That's another one that probably goes in that right-hand column. Maybe we'll do 4x4s, expand these later on.
Yeah, right.
But yeah.
It's just there's so much good shit out there that isn't on our list that we also love. So feel free to shout out some of yours. They probably are.
I was going to say, we shout out a bunch of ours. Yeah, absolutely. Leave us just an image or link to your 3x3, and we'll either troll the fuck out of you or be like, yes, absolutely. Here's spoilers, if you have Bleach, Naruto, and One Piece in your anime 3x3, I'm coming for you, and the flame will ignite. You will be flamed if you're. I bet I could guess the theme though. If Jujutsu Kaisen shows up on your anime 3x3, fuck you. That's all I gotta say.
Damn, going hard on the JJK boys.
Okay, I will say this: the Jujutsu Kaisen anime as an anime adaptation is good.
This is the time to do it. This is the time to do it, Bruce, because when you were saying it before. That was a pretty unpopular opinion, but now it's popular, so we won't get.
Oh yeah, IGN said it's bad, so it's bad now.
Yeah. So
Demon Slayer is still worse. I would rather watch Jujutsu Kaisen than fucking Demon Slayer. So
I feel incredibly middled on all of those things. Like Demon Slayer and Jujutsu, they're fine, but
they're fine. I think that's the thing is they're fine. Everyone thinks they're the greatest. Oh yeah, one more call out for one more call out for things that maybe you should have been on here. The anime Planets. Which is actually originally a manga.
Say that? I've never said it out loud. I didn't know if it was planets or planetas.
That's a good question. I think when they say it in Japanese, it probably sounds a little different. I always just said planets. That's by the author of Vinland Saga, right? The original is. So that's another one that I think the anime is absolutely fantastic. I bet the manga is even better. I should read it, but yeah.
I hear that's good.
Yeah, that's it though. Those are our 3x3s. Like we said, hey, drop us. How do you feel about our 3x3s? Give us a rating in the comments. Leave us any comments you want. Leave us a link to yours. How do you think these manga only guys with a lot of history and anime would feel about yours? Who knows? Probably flame again.
I better see 9 Gintamas on yours.
That could be a good one. Like my 9 favorite anime are all 9 of the 27 Gintama movies that have come out all time. Cool.
Hey, you would be right.
They are easily like half the top 50 on Mao.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. Hey, thank you again for listening or watching, everybody. Don't forget to leave us feedback, comments, upvotes, thumbs up, any positive reinforcement you can leave us. Please go do that. We really appreciate it. Check out Twitter and Patreon, which are linked in the description. Gautam, be sure to tell our viewers goodbye.
Goodbye, viewers.
Thanks again for being with us yet again this week, and don't forget to read more manga.